All right, good afternoon and welcome back to the recap. Michael D'Angelo, joined as always by my partner in crime, Mr. Big D, Daryl Ortiz, on the road to WrestleMania. What are we at, like 35 days? I'm trying to think of where we are from now.
Oh my God. Yeah.
They're like,
I think
we
the
heard 40
road,
days on Raw, and then they were like 36 days on SmackDown. So I'm like 35, 34 days from WrestleMania is where we're getting to at this
30
point.
something. Call it a month. It's April 19th. So we're almost a month away.
Yeah, we're close. We're really close. It's
Yeah,
gonna
so
be
30.
it's gonna be exciting, and it's
33
funny.
and a third days to WrestleMania.
33 and a third days. Well, and we're doing kind of the slow walk. Like I feel like everything is just kind of killing time until WrestleMania at this point.
Yeah.
They started their European tour this weekend or this week actually. It's because Monday was MSG and then SmackDown they started in Barcelona. So kicking off the European leg of the tour, which is always fun. The European crowds are rowdy and
I love it
in all the best ways. So
yeah,
that'll be nice. But what significant things happen on Monday Night Raw, Big D?
not a lot, but I think we're, like you said, it's just more filler stuff. I think Jey Uso is going to have a program, obviously with they already announced it too, so I'm not going to say I think it is factual. They are going to have it. It's the Grayson Waller, Jey Uso, Grayson Waller. Obviously, Jey Uso won that match, and of course, Austin Theory attacks afterwards, heel stuff, and then of course, so does Walter. Gunther. I'm used to calling him Walter.
Yeah,
sorry.
I was like back in the day.
Back in the day, kids, he was called Walter, but Volter, sorry. But anywho, Gunther attacks to put him to sleep. Again, this is just more just killing time. Nothing too significant going on there. And of course, next week we're going to have Austin Theory versus Jey Uso, which I'm actually excited for. I'm an Austin Theory fan. I
love Austin Theory. Like, I wish they would do more with him instead of just having be a jobber to the stars usually.
I think they're holding off for now because they got a lot going on in the main event scene. Yeah. But I can see him eventually coming up there as champion. I see he could be one of those because he has the charisma. Obviously, he has the physique for it, but he has the charisma. He's good on the mic. And
he's great in ring. He's great in ring work.
Yeah, very clean in the ring. So yeah, but yeah, this was just a filler match. Nothing too crazy. Again, you had pretty much setting up matches or possible matches. You had AJ Styles talking trash to Logan Paul because Logan Paul came out because they were in New York and Andrew Schultz was there promoting his new show or his new stand-up. Which, you know what? I wanted to make a point of this. I like, this reminds me of like back in like the heydays, I guess you could say, of Raw, the Monday Night Wars and all that, having the celebrity spots and the celebrity appearances and involvement. I like it. I know Triple H is kind of doing that now because I think he's just trying to have it to where it's a popularity thing, you know, like the UFC, they show the celebrities there, and WWE is like, yeah, we have celebrities here and they're going to get in the ring. So you had Andrew Schultz there. He came in, Logan Paul thinking he was going to be on his side, obviously mocked him. And then AJ Styles was talking. I'm torn on the segment just because obviously it's setting up AJ Styles and Logan Paul, which is going to be a good match, obviously.
Of course,
because AJ Styles, and I mean, I give Logan Paul his credit. He is athletic in the ring and he is good in the ring. But just him walking out like that, it was kind of like just, I think that they didn't know what else to do. So AJ just kind of ran him off and that was it. I think they're trying to pull back a little bit. I don't know if this will be a Mania feud or if this is just going to be like a week to week kind of thing, but I don't know.
I think it's going to be a Mania feud. And I will say, I thought Logan Paul's promo was so mediocre. Like everything about
He struggled.
He struggled, and he always sounds like a 12-year-old trying to insult somebody, like cutting a promo for the first time. So he wasn't very good. And then the Andrew Schultz thing, I will say, I get the celebrity thing. I feel like on the Netflix ones, they do it too much to co-promote with Netflix. Who's like, Andrew Schultz, he's got a new special out on Netflix today. And then they kept showing people in the crowd and it was, you can see this on Netflix. And I'm like, okay, you're bringing in, and basically did a whole segment where it was them pointing out people in the crowd and what they had on Netflix. So it was like, okay, this is
part of the deal.
Part of the deal. Totally get it. It was just that was a little too much. I was wondering what they were going to do with AJ since they completely pivoted away from Braun Breaker. And so I was like, I was really looking forward to AJ versus Braun Breaker. And we got a little teaser. And then they're like, it's him and Logan Paul. And that's that. Now it's Finn Balor and Braun Breaker. So.
Well, it's temporary.
Temporary,
temporary because you have Finn Balor, Braun Breaker next week. So
next week. Well, unless there's like another upset. They've been changing titles a lot on the regular shows,
which I like. I'm a fan of that.
I am, as long as they don't do it to excess. Like I like it, but we'll see. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah, we had, of course, after that, we had New Day versus Dragon Lee Rey Mysterio, which was in the Tornado Tag Team match, which I personally prefer. I like this better because, you can have the double team moves, you can have the ref getting in the way.
Yeah.
It's almost like no DQ. It's pretty much no DQ. So it's cool to see. The whole point of this match, really, though, was to show, and I kind of did like a face palm on this one because you had obviously Chad Gable come out
Yeah.
in a lucha mask, but it looked eerily similar to Hulk Hogan's when Vince didn't want him to wrestle.
Yeah, when he was Mr. America.
Yeah, it looks almost identical a little bit, and I'm just like, and of course, it says American made on it or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh God, no, don't shine light to Hulk Hogan. We don't need that heat. But ironically, though, it also like the color scheme does look like Hulk Hogan's old one, right? But
yeah, it does.
I feel like the design of it, like the wings out. I'm looking at it right now, like the wings out and stuff, kind of are eerily similar to like Ray Fenix's. Mask.
And that's what I was wondering, because I think they were trying to tease that it wasn't real. Because remember the backstage segment, they had security dragging off somebody else that was dressed exactly.
Which it could be. It was Ray Fenix set up by Chad Gable.
Yeah, and that's what I was wondering. I was like, wait a minute, is this supposed to be like Ray Fenix is the one doing this, or Chad like switched and somehow put a mask on? Because whoever that person was in the back, they were cooperating. So is that somebody else pretending to be Ray Fenix? Because we saw a teaser promo, which I'm pretty sure was Ray Fenix on SmackDown.
It was. Yeah, so we saw 2 teaser promos on SmackDown. One for Ray, one for Alistair.
Yeah, and so that's where I was like, huh, okay, like this is kind of odd. But
yeah, I think it's confusing because this is Raw. I don't know why they would have. That's where I got confused when I saw the teaser for Ray Fenix on SmackDown.
Yeah.
I was like, wait. So then, does that mean that's not Ray Fenix? Then is it going to be someone else? Because obviously, Chad Gable came out and was like, no, it's not. Which it's clearly it's him. He did the
delayed,
the delayed German suplex. That's a Chad Gable staple. Like that.
Well, as soon as he did it, I was like, okay, so it's Gable. Like,
and then the gracias at the end. I was like,
yeah.
But then, of course, it could be he set up. Maybe he did set up Ray Fenix. Maybe I don't know. Maybe there's more to it behind the scenes. They'll do like another thing. Maybe he took his mask and replaced it with that one afterwards. And Ray Fenix was probably like, "Well, screw it. I'll just put this one on for now."
Yeah.
And they got caught. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Either way, I'm excited to see how it goes because it's interesting. It's a nice, interesting storyline. It's intriguing. He hit a nice Hurricane Rana for Chad Gable.
He did. Apparently that secret training has been going extremely well for him.
It's like the Mask all over again, except with lucha.
Exactly.
He's the Jim Carrey to the Mask. But yeah, it was cool. I thought it was a fun little thing. It's nice to see something different with the New Day. Of course, Kofi was looking confused as hell. He was like, "What just happened?" And then of course, being the heels, they take advantage, get the victory over LWO. And then you knew that was going to happen because in the beginning of the match, I think it was Michael Cole was like, and the New Day has yet to lose a match to any combination of LWO members. And I'm like, yeah, they're going to lose. So I'm like, well, for some reason you had Cody Rhodes on Raw. Out John Cena.
There's no more brand split for anything anymore. Like
I guess,
which is interesting because like you had Gunther coming out and cutting a promo on SmackDown, and I'm like, what's going on, guy? And then wrestling on SmackDown, and I'm like, they just kind of doing whatever now.
Yeah, I agree. So I mean, again, just the promo showed off the shiner he had, all that good stuff, and just calling out Cena. That's really all there is to it. There's not much to it because he can't do much until Cena comes back. So we'll see how it goes. Raquel defeated Bayley in a number one contenders match for the women's intercontinental title. That was a fun match to see. I enjoyed it. It wasn't anything too crazy. There was a lot of distraction between Liv and Dominic, and Bayley was pretty much fighting 3 people, doing her best. But at the end of the day, it wasn't enough. You had the Raquel hit her with the Tejana bomb, and that was that. So
she's number one contender. That's that. Pretty by the books. And poor Bayley just gets jobbed out to everybody now, which is kind of odd. She's in a weird place.
Yeah. Nah, they'll do right by her, I'm sure. I'm confident of it. We'll see. They had actually a next segment was another segment. You had Bianca Belair with Io Sky. Io Sky calling out Bianca Belair because obviously they have their match coming up at Mania. Yeah. Also, Rhea can just interrupt it because she's mad because she feels like she got cheated out, but she didn't. She screwed up on her own, and I think she's mad at herself. But what was interesting is that how they kept kind of like shove Io aside because they're feuding with themselves, and I'm like, this is totally like undermining your champion. Like this
Yeah, I
doesn't
had the
like.
exact same feeling.
I'm
But
like,
go ahead.
this is kind of dumb because you're undermining your champion, and then like even though she slapped them both, like she looked like a child throwing a temper tantrum,
Yeah,
and because it was like she was upset. Clearly, I would be too, but it didn't make her look strong.
yeah,
Unfortunately, it just was like they just kind of were blowing her off, and I'm getting whiffs of a triple threat coming up here for Mania,
hmm
which again defeats the whole point of Elimination Chamber, because that's the whole point is you get a title shot. Rhea did not win Elimination Chamber, so because she was champion at the time, so
yeah. Well, and see, I felt exactly the same way about the segment. I did not like it, and I didn't like it for a couple of reasons. It was because Rhea sounded whiny the whole time. She's like,
mm-hmm.
"Well, if you hadn't gone out there, Bianca, like I would have won. It would have been a foregone
Mm-hmm.
conclusion. You want to face Io because she's an easier out." And then Bianca's like, "Yeah, I'm not really concerned about either one of you." And you have Io standing in the middle. I even said, "I was like, why are they pushing her around like a little kid? It's like they keep
Mm-hmm.
shoving her in the face." And it had this feeling of Io shouldn't have won. She wouldn't have had the ability to beat Rhea had it not been for the
Yeah.
interference from Bianca. She's undeserving. Look at them
Mm-hmm.
kind of push around. And yeah, she did have the stand tall moment at the end, but
Yeah.
they made her look like an afterthought. And I'm thinking, Io Skies was the women's world champion for a long time. It was a great women's world. Why are you trying to
Yeah.
act like now that she's this undeserving person that
Yeah.
only won because these two were antagonizing each other? Like it really undermined her and it really diminished her. And I
Yeah.
didn't like it at all. I don't
Yeah.
think I think
Same.
it's doing a disservice to those guys. So and it makes Rhea look like a whiny complainer again,
Yeah.
or not Io, Rhea. So I'm like, yeah, everything about this for me was the worst segment.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of it. Hopefully they pivot out of that and they do
Yeah,
something different because or they fix that because yeah, it makes Io look incapable of being a champion on her own, I
yeah,
guess. I don't know.
which is
It's
stupid because Io's great.
yeah. That Io's a great champion. Even look at her time in NXT as
Yeah,
NXT Women's Champion. Like, but anywho, final was the main event, which was my match of the night, just because I enjoy a good cage match. It was a
yeah,
steel cage match between CM Punk and Seth Rollins. There's a lot of kicking out of finishers in this one,
yeah,
which I
yeah.
know you're not a huge fan of, and I get it.
First
Um,
thing I wrote down, I was like, man, there's a lot of kicking out of finishers.
yeah, there's a lot, and like it was like, but it was like a finisher fest. So, like they were
Yeah,
doing their own finishers, each other's finishers. They were doing all kinds of stuff. Punk tried to hit the Anaconda Vice at one point. You had a bunch of stomps, a lot of crazy stomps, and then you had a point where CM Punk seemingly had the match won
yeah.
and was about to walk out, and Seth just kind of goaded him back into like fighting again. And here's why I like this match, and I thought it was my match of the night because
Okay.
this was a perfect example of a blow off match, right? Because they just hate each other and they just started beating the hell out of each other out the gate. There was no like feeling out process. They just went to blows like a hockey fight straight up
Yeah.
out the gate, and they didn't stop. Like you had the superplex off the top of the cage, which was insane. You had all
Well, I
kinds
mean, it
of.
wasn't really off the
Oh,
top
that's
of the
true. He
cage.
was on the
Like
top, but Seth was on the
Seth
turnbuckle.
was standing on the top turnbuckle, and his legs were kind of hanging up against the side of the cage.
That's true. Correct. I
And
stand
so,
corrected. Yeah.
but the funny thing is, they all called it that way though. On
Yeah.
commentary, they were like superplex from the top of the cage, and I wrote down not the top of the cage, guys. Like they both climbed up there, and then they got down, and they were really selling it as he superplexed from the top. This is
Yeah.
amazing. I was like, that was just a standard top rope suplex. So, which is always that's hard to take anyway. So
Yeah.
it's fine, but it was like I think that's where I kind of struggled
I
sometimes.
just would have
where
called it a
they were
superplex and called
overselling
it a
it.
day.
Just superplex,
Yeah.
not from top of the cage. But I had to,
But
I had
I
to throw
did
that
like
out there.
I did like the back and forth at the top of the cage though.
Yeah, that was cool.
It looked like
Good
any one of
visual.
them could just fall off at any moment. That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
But yeah, so just as they were kind of trying to think about how they're gonna defeat each other, they're just like sitting there, like just looking at each other, like out of breath, gassed out because they are just tapped out already. I noticed the cage was open, and
well,
I was like,
the ref opened the door for him to
yeah,
leave. So this is one big thing I have as a huge problem with cage matches. You shouldn't be able to go out the side door. Like it should be,
right.
you have to climb over and get out. So
That's a relatively new stipulation.
yeah, like then now this thing you can escape through the door because they have people come out and rip the door off because it was chained at lock. You used to chain it shut.
Yeah.
And then you'd have the spot with like Mark Henry running down and ripping a cage door open, or Kane running down and ripping the cage door. Now, the way that they set this up is the referee actually walked over, opened the door, swung it open, was like, "Hey, you want to come out?" And it was like, what's the ref doing? Why is the ref helping him escape?
Yeah.
Like, that's stupid. So that's how they set the whole thing up. And that had already was like, some
shenanigans
going to happen here.
I think what they used to do, and again, I know before people try to correct me, it's not that it's a brand new stipulation or a brand new addition to the cage match as far as timing out. That's been around.
Yeah.
But the wrestler would have to tell them to open the cage door.
Yeah,
they would have to go and tell them, "Hey, open the door." The refs just don't. It's not like the sliding door at 7-Eleven. Like you just walk up and it opens and it's like, okay, it's ready, and then it closes for you again. Like no, it's not. Like that's the only thing I had a problem with. But because and here's why I didn't like that, because it completely. I mean, of course, the crowd popped before we could see what happened, but it was a telltale sign that something was going to happen. To Seth Rollins, because his back was to the opening of the cage. The cage was wide open. He had no idea the cage was open, because he was shocked as hell when a big old forearm wrapped around his throat and pulled him out, and it was Roman Reigns. But it's funny because Roman Reigns beat him down and delivered some stomps of his own, which were nice, by the way. Nice little touch of storytelling there. And, but he helped Seth Rollins win, technically. And so he beat him down outside ringside, speared him, all that good stuff. And he was done until he saw Paul Heyman carrying for CM Punk.
Yeah.
And just like a jealous, abusive boyfriend, he got mad. And he ran in there and he beat the hell out of Punk too, for good measure. So yeah, I don't know what this is going to lead up to. I know Paul Heyman came out on SmackDown. They said absolutely nothing, and then
he said nothing,
and then Roman's going to come out next week. So we'll see what Roman says. I don't know if this is going to be triple threat, or if it's going to be he's going to pick one of them. More than likely Seth Rollins, because that's been boiling up for a long time, and I feel that would be the ultimate feud-ending match right there at Mania. Between Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. That'll give Roman Reigns something to do. That's not tribal related, but. I don't know. What did you think?
I know. I think so. I think I was less enthused about the match than you were, just because I tend to unfairly criticize CM Punk a lot. So I was looking at it more as, wow, they really played to CM Punk's inabilities. So that's what it turned into, like a finisher fest. Like there wasn't a lot of great spots in it, but for a cage match, because I was kind of expecting a lot of cool spots, and they didn't do much other than kind of brawl and throw a lot of punches, and then a bunch of finishers that got kicked out of. So I was like, for me, the moment of the match was Roman Reigns interfering and wrecking everybody, which they totally built up to. And I thought that was cool. I thought the opening the door thing, as I said before, was dumb. That's a silly, it's a silly rule that they have, but it was totally setting up for this. I thought it was interesting that you had the Paul Heyman dynamic of, Roman clearly taking exception to the fact that, hey, Heyman's, you're supposed to be my guy. What are you taking care of CM Punk for? So perhaps building towards Heyman and Roman officially splitting up, which is good. I feel like they can do so much. Like Heyman can now help get somebody else over. He doesn't need to help get over Roman Reigns anymore. Roman's doing his thing. So maybe sticking with Braun Breaker, have him go take another monster and promote him up. But we'll see. But this set the table for me. I think it's the triple threat that they're going to build to at WrestleMania. But we'll see how it goes. I thought it was nice to see Roman back. It was nice to see him looking dominant. It was nice to see him closing out the show on Netflix. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this progresses, and it should happen pretty quickly. We're like I said, 33 and 30 days, however long it is.
Yeah, a few weeks to go. So
a little bit of time to set it up. And speaking of a little bit of time, we got into SmackDown on Barcelona, which the European tour is going on for the next few weeks leading up to WrestleMania. Love the European crowd because they're always like super excited. LA Knight opened the show and they just gave him so much love. Like you would think he was the WWE champion, the way that they reacted to him, and he was drinking it in. He was having a good time.
Yeah.
Basically, of all people, you had Jimmy Uso come out and Jim, which was kind of random. And then Solo interrupted and said, if anyone deserves a title shot, it was Shake 'em for two. And then Tama Tonga brawl. This whole thing was done to set up a 6-man tag because Braun Strowman came out. And basically, it was, long story short, we wound up with Nick Aldis going 6-man tag right now, which is like his favorite thing to do, which opened the show was the first thing, 6-man tag. I'll say Bloodline 2.0 because I guess they're still Bloodline 2.0. Solo Tama and Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight, Jimmy Uso, and Braun Strowman. It started during the break, which I hate. I mean, it's just a time thing. I get it. And there was a second break. So it was kind of a long match.
Yeah, it was.
But, it was fun. It was good. Strowman picked up the win for the good guys. Poor Tama Tonga always has taken the losses for that team. I was like, if somebody's getting pinned, it's always Tama. Tama took the running power slam and got beat. But then you had the brawling continue afterwards between Strowman and Fatu with, Fatu hitting multiple moonsaults. Then he kind of ran around and ran Strowman through the barricade, did his super heel thing, which started the theme of the night, which was post-match brawls. Because I think there was one after every single match except for the main event.
Yeah, I'm about to say not the main event.
Not the main event, because they almost ran out of time on the main event. I was like, there's like a minute left. Like, are they going to finish this?
Yeah, hurry up and finish.
So they were like, hurry, trying to get done. But except for the main event, every other one had a post-match brawl, this was a little too much post-match brawling for me. But anyway, what did you think of the opening segment?
I feel like just make it happen. I think Nick Aldis is going to the Teddy Long School of GM. But totally. It's cool. I don't mind it. I like the match. It was a good match. Braun Strowman looked great as always. I love seeing the brawl with Jacob Fatu and Braun Strowman. I think it's such a great matchup right there.
Yeah.
Of course, we had the promo after with Jacob Fatu calling out Braun Strowman for another match 1-on-1 next week, which was interesting to see. One thing I just kind of made note of, and it kind of like cleared everything out from what happened prior, was the way Solo was behaving during that promo. He was more like the hype man now.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed, like he was saying the catchphrase with him. Like he was out of his usual stoic character, like
he's trying to advocate more, which is interesting. Like, is it sincere? Is it not sincere?
Exactly. So we'll see. Time will tell. But I love that they're pushing Jacob right now. That is the right move. I've always said, and I have. The beautiful thing about this show is that I have receipts that I've been praising Jacob Fatu, and I've been saying it's long overdue. We're just missing Zilla, so hopefully we get Zilla soon.
Well, and Jacob got like the hero pop from the crowd too. Like when they were like, of course, Solo got booed, Tama got booed, Jacob got cheered. So he's totally over with the crowd. So I say let him roll with it. Let him keep giving them those opportunities.
Yeah.
Then we got like a weird empty arena interview with Jade Cargill about Naomi. And kind of, by the numbers stuff. And then she indicating she was upset with Bianca because Bianca immediately picked up and moved on. So I'm feeling like they're setting the table for, I'm mad at you too, Bianca. And then they'll have them have a rivalry if Bianca winds up becoming champion at WrestleMania.
Right.
So we'll see how that goes. Liv and Raquel came out and just jawed at her kind of awkwardly in the quiet, empty arena interview. And so I believe
because when you enter the arena, you come in through the chairs.
Yeah, you come in through the chairs so that you can all bump into each other. It was kind of weird, but I believe that set up Jade Cargill versus Liv Morgan next week. And that's going to be in Italy, I think. So that'll be
Bologna in Italy.
Bologna, it's Bologna. No, I'm just kidding. It's going to be great. And then speaking of Bologna, we had BFAB versus Charlotte next. So this set off several matches too of relegated mid-carder versus world champion that's overly competitive. This is something that continued to happen during the night. So BFAB versus Charlotte should have probably been a squash match, but it was a highly competitive match.
It was.
And they kept highlighting. What was funny, I wrote during the commercial break, I was like, they keep highlighting how disparate it is between the record of Charlotte and the record of BFAB. And then as soon as they came back, you heard, what was it? Wade Barrett going, the disparity between the two is becoming more evident. I was like, yeah, for like the fifth time after I wrote that down. So of course Charlotte won, and then she locked in the figure eight for the win, and they wouldn't let go of the hold, which I'm thinking, if you're the ref, just shove her arm so that she falls down. Like this, they're like, oh, we can't break her up. I'm like, that's pretty easy. Just grab her arms and pull her, since she has to have all that leverage and torque from arching her back, according to how they've pitched the figure eight. But she wouldn't release the hold, so Tiff ran down for the brawl. This turned into the Peter Griffin versus the Chicken Brawl of this week. Tiff did hit a swanton on Charlotte and the security guards, and then it was like this long brawl. And then Miz TV came out, and then while Miz TV started, they came out and brawled again on the stage. And then Tiff hit an even nicer swanton on Charlotte and security from the top of the Titantron. So that was really cool. That was neat. Yeah. But a long brawl session, like between the brawling and the match itself, this took up a lot of time. And felt unnecessary. Like maybe just have her squash BFAB and humiliate her, and then you can run down and do the save. I don't know why they would. I know they're trying to put some shine on BFAB, but it almost takes away from Charlotte a little bit if you're having to struggle this much against her. But what were your thoughts?
No, I agree. I think the making BFAB, I get why they're making BFAB a competitive, wrestler. They're trying to bring her up as well, and they're trying to use Charlotte for that, which is fine. But at the same time, it's kind of like this Charlotte's about 4 weeks away from her WrestleMania championship match, and you don't want her to start looking like not questioning why she's there, right? Yeah. But I did, I see the brawl thing. I get they're trying to make it. My issue with this is they haven't been feuding that long to have these type of pull apart brawls. I get it, but at the same time, because I know like Charlotte obviously insulted her, and Tiffy doesn't want, she's making a statement at this point. She's not putting up with the trash talking or the belittling that Charlotte does, but it really hasn't been much because Charlotte hasn't been out. And I know Charlotte did that whole where she sat down and like talk trash to her, but I'm just kind of like, are they really feuding that bad? Like, am I missing something that, it's like pull apart brawl style? Like, I mean,
yeah, there's not enough history. There's no history between them at all.
No. So,
but this isn't Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Yeah. But who knows? Maybe, I'm excited for the match. It's going to be a good one, I'm sure, but we'll see what they have in store next week. I'm curious.
I'm sure it'll be good. They're just kind of killing time till WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And then speaking of killing time, so we eventually got to the Miz TV segment, which was short and sweet, thank goodness, because I feel like Cody was like, we're running out of time because Miz cut off Cody's interest, so Cody just attacked him and then hit a crossroads and basically just said, I hope John's here on Monday. I'll be there. And then left. So he cut 2 promos. Thank God he didn't just repeat himself for Monday. But this was really nothing. It was just, hope he's there on Monday. Peace. And then he ducked out in time for. And the other thing I'll say too, this episode felt a little bit more like a house show. And the reason why I say that, because we got a lot of randomness. So you had Charlotte BFAB. Then you had Shinsuke Nakamura versus Damian Priest, which was pretty random for me. It was good. It was a good match. I enjoyed it. It's funny because you got the kickboxing guy, legitimate kickboxing guy versus legitimate MMA guy having a match together. So they were kind of showcasing some of their striking skills and doing all that. So that was neat. I enjoyed the match. But as I was watching it, I thought the match was good until Drew McIntyre arrived. Before he even came out, because I was like, this is so predictable. And of course, Drew McIntyre arrived at ringside, distraction. And then as soon as Damian hit the South of Heaven, he jumped in and then he attacked Damian Priest. And so ended in a disqualification before he got the pin. And then they brawled afterwards again in a long brawl, making it 3 consecutive matches with a post-match brawl that went on for a little while. With him just kind of going back and claymoring him and then going back and this and that. So this felt a little overdone at this point because we had already seen this like 2 times. And I'm like, we got another like run back long brawl. What did you think of this one?
It was interesting to see Drew and Shinsuke kind of work together. Like he let Shinsuke hit the Kinshasa on him, and like just for good measure, just because he was like, all right, go for it. I was like, ooh, we got the League of Nations 2.0 but it was actually pretty cool to see that part of it. It's Drew's more like, dude, I don't care, beat him up, and when you're done, it's mine. He's mine. So like that's kind of the vibe I got. But yeah, I wasn't a fan of like the back-to-back extended brawls. It's just, I don't know. I guess they're just trying. Maybe the crowd was just hot and they're just playing into it.
Maybe like it just didn't play well on TV, I guess. But the crowd was having fun. The crowd was very appreciative the whole night. Yeah. They were really into it. We got a little preview of the new Secret Service agents with Alba Fire now joining Piper with Chelsea Greens. They had their little segment backstage, setting up a match for next week. And then you had Randy Orton versus Carmelo Hayes. Again, this one isn't really random in the sense they set it up the week before, but it's still like random in the sense that we haven't really seen them compete against each other. This one I really enjoyed, though. I thought it was the best wrestled match so far for the night as the night progressed. I think the main event I have as my match of the night. I thought that one was the best one. But this one was really enjoyable. Carmelo really does compliment Randy really well because he's such a good athlete. He's such a good athlete. Randy, of course, got the RKO for the win as expected. Then he offered his handshake to Carmelo, who shoved him, and then he got a second RKO. Was lining him up for the punt. Like you're still seeing the shades of Legend Killer kind of coming out. But before he could, another post-match scuffle with Kevin Owens popping up. Surprise, surprise! Kevin Owens popped up. This one, thank goodness, was short. It didn't go on forever, but it was the continuation of the theme. Fun match for me.
Yeah, same here. I enjoyed the match. Carmelo Hayes and Randy Orton actually do really well together, which I was not surprised. They're both extremely athletic. Randy Orton, the savvy veteran, he was going to help out the Rook and get him going. And I thought it's good. I like it. Hopefully this feud kind of continues a little bit. I'm waiting for Randy Orton to actually punt somebody, and I'm hoping it happens because I like that version of Randy, but we'll see how it goes. But I did enjoy it. Even the brawl after, obviously going to set up the feud match between Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. So I'm excited for that.
Definitely. Then you had, speaking of no brand split, then you had Gunther out to wrestle. He was cutting a promo and then he wrestled, kind of dressed down the crowd a little bit, and then invited Axiom over from NXT to be his victim because he's like, hey, he's from Spain, so I gotta make him look bad in his hometown. This one, again, along with the BFAB and Charlotte match, was you have this time a world champion struggling the whole time. Axiom gave him a run for his money. It was very competitive, more competitive than it should have been. He kicked out of Gunther's powerbomb at one point, which I was like, like seriously. And it had kind of and it also had this kind of house show feel of, why is he wrestling Axiom? Because it's his hometown, and you're letting him get a bit of a shine, which is okay, but at the expense of the world champion. Gunther eventually got frustrated, and then he had 2 power bombs for good measure. And then after he won, he locked in the sleeper hold, wouldn't let it go, continuing the attacking after a match and not letting it go. Kind of similar to Charlotte, not letting the figure 8 go. So it was what it was. I just think it didn't do anything to really help serve Gunther well heading up. If anything, I thought it made him look weaker heading into WrestleMania. So I wasn't sure what to make of this one.
So as far as Axiom being competitive, I can let that one slide in my eyes because he is NXT Tag Team Champion.
Well, no, he is, but
so to me, I'm like, okay, no, but I'm saying okay, he's a champion in his own right in NXT, and you can count the whole adrenaline of being in front of your home country, your home crowd, adrenaline, all that good stuff. I can see that. BFAB, I had no clue because she hasn't held the title. She hasn't you know what I mean? She was a manager up until a few months ago. So I mean, and that's not her fault. It's just the way she's been presented to us. Yeah. And that's my point, is that, Axiom has been presented as a hot start, in NXT. He's tag team champion. He's retained he's 2-time, I think, tag team champion, retained, all that good stuff. And actually just faced the Hardy Boys.
And they mentioned that. They mentioned that just faced the Hardys.
So with all that, I'm like, okay, I can give a pass to that. What I can't give a pass to is the kicking out of the power bomb. Yeah, because that's Gunther's finisher.
Well, and that's how it should have ended. He had plenty of momentum. He looked good. Have him hit the power bomb. Oh, he got reckless and got caught with the power bomb.
Yeah, and got caught off guard. There. Cool. Yeah, that's the whole point of the power bomb. You can hit it out of almost anything. If he tries to hit a hurricane, just stop him, power bomb, you win. You're done. So that's kind of where I would have rather have it end. I did have an issue with him kicking out of the power bomb just because I feel. Not necessarily because it's a finisher, it's the champion's finisher. You know what I mean? The champion's finisher should be a one and done.
It should really be protected.
You know what I mean? Especially if you're a champion. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. But yeah,
it is what it is. I mean, Gunther technically won, but still, I didn't think it did him a bunch of favors heading into his match with Jey Uso. Maybe it's foreshadowing. We'll see. And then you had Paul Heyman out for a promo about nothing. I was really excited to see him there, and he what I will say, one of his more awkward promos, talking about it's Roman Reigns Day, and he was doing a sales pitch for WWE 2K25. Some people have a problem with Roman being on the cover, CM Punk being one of them. It's not CM Punk Day. It'll never be Seth Rollins Day. I was like, what the heck is this? Like, what are you doing, Paul? Like, why are you selling out? You're up here literally to sell copies of WWE 2K25.
I was waiting for Rusev to come out and say Rusev Day.
It's Rusev Day. Like, he's downloadable content. Rusev is here and you can download him. Like, that would have been funny. But and then all he said was, if anyone's got a problem with Roman Reigns being on the cover, he'll be in Italy on SmackDown next week. And I'm like, okay. And then
he got a huge boo for that too.
Yeah. And he's like, look, he's not going to be here. Like, he'll hop on a plane and fly to Italy. Like, everything about this was like, dude, you didn't even need to be here. You shouldn't have come out. Like, if you were just pitching the video game and saying Roman will be here next week, this was the most let down Paul Heyman promo. I love Paul Heyman. This is just like, oh.
Maybe Roman was supposed to be there. Maybe he had travel issues. You never know.
I'm going to hope that there's a good explanation. I fear there's not, but I fear they were like, hey guys, we got to pitch the video game. Hey, is Paul doing anything? Who's good on the mic? Who's here?
Well, the only reason I say that is because if they are going to pitch the game, because the game debuted or released that day.
Yeah.
That's why I would say, like, obviously you'd want Roman there to promote it, but I'm thinking something must have happened. I don't know. I haven't done my homework on that.
Yeah, I didn't look into it too much other than kind of scratch my head a little bit.
Yeah.
But main event time was the Street Profits versus DIY. Kept getting cutbacks to Pretty Deadly watching. They were dressed up, very short tie for Pretty Deadly too. It's just funny. Every time they cut back looking seriously with a little short tie. As they're the number one contenders. This is my match of the night. This is great. And it was short. Like, they started at like the 13 minutes left in the show. And you got the Doomsday Blockbuster from the Profits. You had a fairy tale ending followed by a super kick that Dawkins kicked out of. It was like all great stuff. The ending controversial because the DIY was going for the meet in the middle. Gargano accidentally like super kicked Ciampa in the face, which set up the Street Profits for the win. Montez Ford hit a beautiful frog splash. Absolutely gorgeous. Great height on it. And the Street Profits, somewhat surprisingly, kind of continuing the theme with surprise title changes. I actually was expecting DIY something to happen where it was going to be a disqualification. And which would have bummed me out. This was a good surprise. I enjoyed the surprise. It was a good finish to the show. It was a great match. It wasn't too long. I loved it. Congratulations to the Street Profits.
Yeah, I love the Street Profits are tag team champions. I feel they're long overdue for their rerun as tag champs. I've always liked them as a team. They're kind of still teetering that, walking along that, tiptoeing that line between heel and face right now. So we'll see how it goes. But
yeah.
I honestly thought Motor City Machine Guns were going to interfere, kind of like as a payback for spoiling their match, and then we'll have a triple threat or a fatal four-way at Mania. But I like this better. This is good. I like this better. So
yeah, I'm glad that didn't happen because I was half expecting. I'm like, someone's going to interfere, and this is going to be a no contest, and that's going to suck. So I'm glad they didn't do that. This is a welcome surprise.
Yeah.
Very good. And that was it for SmackDown. Short and sweet. We'll see what happens. Monday night's the big day. John Cena. He's going to come back and let us know. People keep saying John Cena's bald spot's gone. I was like, I think they just sprayed the back of his head because he was signing autographs somewhere and he didn't have a bald spot. And I was like, I think he's doing a movie and they just got the spray can and they darkened the back of his head.
All kinds of stuff now.
So they keep saying, hey, he, like him selling the soul to The Rock fixed his hair. Like that was part of the deal. There are the jokes that are coming out. So we'll see if he has a bald spot. That's the one thing that's going to be on my bingo card. Does John Cena still have a bald spot on Monday?
Or was it a wig? Because he's bald now.
I know, right? Like what's going on? Will we see him like actually bald? So this will be interesting, but that's the big explanation from John Cena. What are we going to see, Big D? Are we going to see a return to the Doctor of Thugonomics? Are we going to see somebody else? Are we going to see like a different iteration of John Cena?
Like what's corporate John Cena in a suit?
Yeah.
With The Rock, they both come out in suits. Except The Rock has like the flood pants on. No, not the flood pants. What are they called? The little bell bottoms on.
Yeah.
The flowy.
I don't, I as much as I love the Doctor of Thugonomics, I don't think I want him to revisit that.
It wouldn't translate well in this era. Honestly,
yeah.
I think I would like it, different. But it's not.
Yeah, I want him to do something different. It's like if you're really, hey, I'm going to do a heel turn at the end of my career, and you're going to be bold and you're going to be exciting. Do something different. Do something different. that comes out of left field, and see how it goes. I hope he's not wearing the jean shorts and the colorful shirts. Like, I hope he gets rid of like the whole gimmick. It's like, just do something completely different and really surprise everybody.
Well, they're still selling the shirts.
Yeah.
I think the Never Give Up ones, the last time is now. I think they're still selling that stuff. I know they dropped with the Cactus Jack branding for Travis Scott. I know they dropped the Wrestling is Real shirt, which is actually a pretty cool shirt. It's very simple. It's just like, it's almost like old school wrestling style of a shirt. I like it, but I wonder if they're gonna do like a whole black and white kind of thing, or maybe like
I hope they don't. Somebody was like, "Hey, they should bring back the NWO." I'm like, "No, do something different. Don't bring back NWO. Don't do that. Like, just
don't give Hogan a paycheck.
Don't give Hogan a paycheck. Yeah, just have him come out. Well, because in the photos when he was signing autographs, he was wearing like a black leather jacket, like a biker jacket, and like a black shirt. And I was like, man, just have him do something like that. Have him look like a henchman. Like, if you really want to do it, make him look like a henchman to The Rock. And he'll cut a great promo. Like, whatever he's going to come out there and say. I hope he really just goes for it. But we'll find out. We'll find out.
He's going to come out like his like his character on Fast 9, Dom's brother.
Exactly. Like Dom's brother. Yeah. I was like, what was his name? Jacob in that one?
Jacob. He's going to pull up in a supercar with a suit.
Yeah. I'm like, do it, man. Like, just go for it. That's what we got this week for the recap. We appreciate your support as always. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments, all that good stuff, and we'll be back with more good stuff and hopefully some reactions to whatever it is that John Cena is going to say or come out as. So it'll be interesting. We'll see. But until then, I've been Michael D'Angelo. He's been Big D Daryl Ortiz. Have a great week, everyone, and we'll see you soon.